If a Chinese-developed ultra-long-range air-to-air missile were to force the U.S. Air Force to acknowledge that its most advanced stealth fighter is at a disadvantage before even reaching engagement range, just how formidable would its true power be? And how did this situation come about step by step? Discussions about the PL-15 air-to-air missile are no longer mere speculation based on paper specifications. The turning point that truly has Pentagon experts on edge stems from a series of real-world tests during the 2025 India-Pakistan conflict. According to combat results released by Pakistan, its Air Force's J-10CE fighters, equipped with the PL-15E, the export variant, successfully shot down multiple Indian Air Force Rafale, Su-30 Mki, and MiG-29 fighters at a maximum range of at least 200 kilometers. This was not a simulated engagement during exercises, but one of the longest range beyond visual range air combat kills on record. It is important to note that export variants are typically deliberately limited in range and other parameters to comply with international arms trade regulations. Public data shows that the nominal range of the export version PL-15E is capped at around 145 kilometers, but in actual combat, through complex ballistic optimization, it can still easily cover a range of 160 to 200 kilometers. In contrast, the European Meteor air-to-air missiles equipped on India's Rafale fighters, though touted by the West as having ultra-long-range capabilities, have an effective engagement range of less than 100 kilometers in actual combat. This near one-sided dominance on the battlefield has forced Western military observers to confront a reality: the technical potential of China's domestic-use version of the PL-15 is far more formidable than the conservative figures released to the public. From a technical perspective, the reason the PL-15 poses such a significant threat to stealth fighters like the F-22 from a distance lies in its solution to the traditional challenges of long-range missiles: limited range, poor accuracy, and insufficient terminal velocity. This missile utilizes the world's first truly mature dual-pulse solid-fuel rocket engine. Simply put, this propulsion design divides the fuel chamber into two independent combustion stages. During the initial launch phase, the first stage ignites to propel the missile into high altitude and cruise at extremely high speeds, after which it enters a gliding phase where it relies on its control surfaces to adjust its attitude and conserve fuel. When the missile reaches the edge of the no-escape zone, tens of kilometers from the target, the second stage ignites, giving the missile a lightning-fast final sprint that can reach speeds of 4 to 6 Mach. This design creates a scenario that would leave any enemy pilot feeling hopeless. By the time the F-22's airborne radar warning system detects a radar signal, the PL-15 has typically already entered its terminal high-speed sprint phase. Faced with such terminal velocity, neither the F-22 nor any other stealth fighter can effectively evade the attack through conventional sharp turns or the release of chaff and flares. This is because the fatal weakness of traditional missiles lies in their rapid energy decay. By the time they reach long ranges, they have become erratic, unpowered gliders that can be easily shaken off by the target performing high-G maneuvers. In contrast, the PL-15's secondary ignition mechanism ensures that even after flying hundreds of kilometers, it maintains, or even exceeds, the speed and maneuvering G-load capabilities of its initial stage right up to the final moment. Beyond its propulsion system, the PL-15's advancements in its eyes and brain also pose a significant threat to stealth fighters. Its seeker is equipped with an extremely advanced gallium nitride active phased array radar. The anti-jamming capabilities and detection accuracy of this radar far exceed those of the mechanical scanning radars found on traditional missiles. As a result, it can maintain an effective lock-on range of approximately 20 kilometers even against stealth targets with extremely low radar cross-sections, such as the F-22. Its deeper advantage lies in its operational model. The PL-15 does not operate in isolation, it is fully integrated into a tightly coordinated combat network. In modern beyond visual range air combat, the efficiency of information acquisition directly determines the outcome of a battle. Through high-speed two-way data links, the PL-15 can not only acquire targets before launch but also continuously adjust its trajectory mid-flight, based on data from early warning aircraft or other sensor platforms. This means that stealth fighters like the J-20 can precisely track an F-22 from 300 kilometers away via the KJ-500 early warning aircraft without activating their own radars, thereby achieving a silent launch. The missile remains radar silent during the mid-flight phase to maximize stealth, only abruptly activating its radar to launch a lethal attack when the distance is reduced to approximately 30 kilometers. Faced with such extreme challenges posed by this integrated system, the U.S. Air Force finds itself in a rather passive position. Although the F-22 Raptor is currently the world's most advanced air superiority platform, it has been in service for a long time, and its internal weapons and avionics architecture is based on design logic from the late 1990s. The most critical structural flaw lies in the fact that the F-22's cramped main weapons bay was not designed to accommodate large, ultra-long-range missiles. It currently carries primarily the AIM-120C D series of medium-range missiles. Even the most advanced AIM-120D3 variant has a maximum theoretical range of only 160 to 180 kilometers. This creates a dire situation when an aircraft armed with the PL-15 launches a missile from 200 kilometers away. The F-22, due to its insufficient weapon range, finds it difficult to retaliate from the same distance. This humiliating disparity, being only capable of taking hits while unable to reach the enemy, has been described by a former U.S. Navy operations expert as the F-22's structural disadvantage. Although U.S. experts like Eric Wicklund have proposed a counter-attack logic, arguing that the F-22's exceptional stealth capabilities and powerful onboard radar can detect and lock onto non-stealth targets from a greater distance, thereby shooting them down before they can launch AIM-120 missiles. However, this logic has already shown significant cracks when facing opponents of the PL-15's caliber. This is because even a non-stealth J-10C fighter, if backed by a large UHF band radar early warning aircraft like the KJ-500, may possess superior battlefield situational awareness capabilities compared to an F-22 operating alone. Early warning aircraft's long-wave radars often possess a certain degree of anti-stealth detection capability. With their powerful radar output, detecting traces of stealth targets hundreds of kilometers away is not as taxing as it is for the radars of small fighter jets. This reversal in the strategic landscape has forced the U.S. military to acknowledge that it has fallen behind in the realm of beyond visual range weapons. The Pentagon has explicitly admitted that it is precisely due to the emergence of the PL-15 and the resulting significant range gap that it has been compelled to accelerate the development of the next-generation ultra-long-range air-to-air missile, the AIM-260. However, the development and deployment of weapons require a lengthy timeframe. Even if the AIM-260 is delivered to the troops as soon as possible, the Raptor fighter will only be able to barely compensate for its range shortfall when facing the PL-15. What is even more unsettling is that the PL-15 is not the end of this long-range strike system, as rumored ultra-long-range air-to-air missiles like the PL-17, with ranges potentially reaching 400 kilometers or even further, gradually come into view. The rules of the future skies are being completely rewritten. Once such strike capabilities are in hand, their targets will no longer be limited to the enemy's frontline fighters. Instead, they will directly aim for the most critical and vulnerable nodes within the enemy's combat system, namely, high-value early warning aircraft and aerial refueling aircraft. Once these high-altitude command nodes are decapitated from hundreds of kilometers away, the entire enemy air combat system will be as if its brain and lifeline have been severed. Even the most advanced F-22 fighters on the front lines, left to face a deluge of long-range firepower alone, will have nowhere to hide.